Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that are just joining us, welcome. And those that were here with us, welcome back. Thank you for coming to our session. This session is a continuation of the discussions we had in the morning, early afternoon, please. And this time we're talking about climate smart landscapes and the linkages between forestry and agriculture. Some of you might know this, but in the world we have 1.5 million hectares of cropland, actually. We've got 3.4 billion hectares of rangeland and pasture land. We've got 4.1 billion hectares of forest, natural forest. We've got 0.3 billion hectares of tree plantations. We've got 1.3 billion hectares of wetlands and some urban areas. The big question is, for all of these varied landscapes, types of lands that you have, every time one is growing, something else is trading for the other, isn't it? The biggest victim is always forest, because you see it's 4.1 billion hectares. So everyone is eating from the forest. But one of the big questions that always come up is, how many hectares of forest should Indonesia keep? Because they need the croplands to feed the population, don't they? Yeah? They need the plantation areas for, furniture, etc., etc. So every one of these has a function, The big question is, how do people decide what configuration of these lands they have in their own countries? Or, talking about a district, what configuration do they need, in terms of making these functions work? That's exactly the kinds of things that we want to address with our eminent panel here this afternoon. What is the relationship between the agricultural land, the croplands, and the pasture lands and forest lands? What is the relationship between these? And what is the relationship of these types of land uses to other functions, climate change adaptation, climate change mitigation, these sort of, different trade-offs that we have in the landscape. But the main focus here is to look at land use planning as a tool to link these different parts of the land. Yeah? We have here this afternoon a group of very good people to talk about this. We have Bastian Laumann. He's Dutch, and he's leader of the Climate Change and West Watershed Program at Cartier in Costa Rica. He has extensive experience in Central and Latin America on relationships between people, ecosystems, and climate change. Welcome. We've got Celia Harvey, the Vice President of Ecosystem Services for Conservation International, based in Washington, D.C., but operating from Costa Rica, actually. She has very strong interest and 15 years of experience in biodiversity conservation, tropical agroforestry, and climate change. We've got with us also Sonia Dewey. Sonia is a senior landscape ecologist from World Agroforestry Center, working out of Bogor in Indonesia. She's worked extensively in the Indonesia RED process, looking at MRVs and looking at planning at sort of landscape level and linking into the NAMA discussions. And we've got Aliou Diouf, who's a program officer at ENDA Tiers-Monde, especially ENDA Energy, Environnement et Développement, based in Senegal. He's been a key player in the knowledge management on climate change in Africa in the last couple of years. He actually was leading the Africa Adapt program that ended recently with IDRC before moving to ENDA. So here is our panel that will be talking about this topic with us here today. Thank you. To start off the discussions, we'll like to ask each one of them a very specific question so they can throw out their thoughts with us. And you've got 4 minutes each to reflect on this, and then we'll come back back to you and interactions with the audience. Bastian, a quick question. Katia has been talking a lot about, climate smart territories as a very specific, conceptual approach to landscapes. What is that about? What are the opportunities? What are the challenges with that concept? Thank you.
Okay, only 4 minutes, huh?
Yes, please. The clock starts.
Okay, I'll try to be very short. I
Yes,
think
please.
for us, climate smart territories, we actually had a session